Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the absolute tidal wave of announcements straight out of Google I/O 2026. We are looking at a fundamental shift in how we interact with computers. We're moving away from tools that just sit there waiting for a command to intelligent systems that actively work alongside us. So let's dive right into this specific question because it perfectly frames the core technological evolution we're looking at today. For the past couple of years, we've all grown super accustomed to the old prompt and response model. You know the drill. You ask a question, you get an answer. You close the tab, and the AI basically goes to sleep. But what if it didn't? What if it just kept working for you in the background? Section 1. The AI that never sleeps. We're moving completely away from traditional chatbots into a totally new reality here. If you've been hanging around tech circles lately, you've probably caught wind of the OpenClaw craze, where hobbyists are literally dedicating spare Mac Minis just to run AI workflows 24/7. It's incredibly technical. But Gemini Spark takes all that friction and turns a super complex local agent setup into a cloud-based, mainstream consumer product. No extra hardware required whatsoever. Section 2. Sessions versus persistent VMs. To really grasp why this is a massive category shift and not just some minor feature update, we gotta look under the hood. Every single major competing AI assistant right now is session-bound. The second you close the window, it goes to sleep and completely forgets your tasks. But ambient AI, which powers Gemini Spark, runs 24/7 on dedicated Google Cloud virtual machines. It has its own persistent working memory. It keeps executing your triggers whether you're sitting at your desk or fast asleep. Section 3. Hardware and workspace integration. Now, an always-on brain really isn't useful unless it actually connects to the tools you use every single day. So let's trace a real-world workflow. Imagine you're a freelance photographer. Step 1, you just forward a client inquiry to your dedicated Spark email address. Step 2, Spark autonomously extracts the client's name and the event dates. And Step 3, it logs that lead into a Google Sheet and creates a brand new Drive folder for the project. You didn't even open a single app, and it just saved you hours of administrative busy work. This level of native integration is absolutely vital, especially when we look at the hardware side of things. Chrome OS currently accounts for roughly 9% of global notebook shipments, and a huge chunk of that is in the education sector. Think about this for a second. The Chromebook generation is now entering the workforce. They already have this deep-rooted familiarity with the Google ecosystem, which gives Google a massive built-in audience for their newly announced premium laptop category, the Google Pixbooks. These laptops merge Android and Chrome OS into a single platform powered directly by this agentic AI. And then you throw the new Android XR audio glasses into the mix. Google is entering the wearables market with a massive structural advantage here. Competitors might be earlier to the smart glasses game, sure, but Google's AI already securely knows your emails, your photos, and your calendar history. That means it's not going to try and schedule a client call while you're sitting in the dentist's chair. It's proactive right from the frames on your face. Which brings us to Section 4, building the ambient ecosystem. Google knows they can't do it all alone. Making an ambient agent truly useful requires an ecosystem that reaches way outside of just Google Workspace. Spark uses an open standard called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short, and it's launching with some incredible third-party partners. We're talking Canva for graphic design, OpenTable for dinner reservations, and Instacart for grocery shopping. This proves the agent can actually browse, book, and buy across the wider web. The engine running this whole shebang is the Anti-Gravity 2.0 harness. If Spark is the helpful assistant that you actually talk to, Anti-Gravity is the project manager working frantically behind the scenes. It provides a shared infrastructure for both consumers and third-party developers. It takes your high-level goals and breaks them down into repeating subtasks across different apps to actually get the job done. Section 5. Managing the blast radius. Of course, giving a persistent AI autonomous control over your digital life introduces some incredibly complex privacy and reliability risks. We have to impartially examine what's known as the blast radius. A normal, session-bound chatbot might write a bad email, sure, but it won't actually hit send. An ambient e-jump? It has a much larger blast radius. A misfired action could mean it literally sends the wrong email to your boss or incorrectly spends your hard-earned money while you sleep. It's the inherent trade-off of delegating irreversible actions to a machine. To mitigate these risks, Google is putting up some serious safety guardrails. First up is Android Halo, which constantly surfaces agent activity right in your phone's status bar so you're never caught off guard. Then there's payment sandboxing, which strictly caps exactly what the AI can spend. But the ultimate failsafe here is user approvals. These are hard checkpoints that require your explicit confirmation before any major, irreversible action is taken. Because this blast radius risk is so structurally high for ambient AI, Google isn't just flipping a switch for everyone. They're executing a highly staged rollout. It started with trusted testers, and now they're moving to a US-only beta, restricted strictly to paying AI Ultra and AI Pro subscribers. This lets Google carefully monitor real-world misfires and really fine-tune those safety defaults among power users before doing a broader global release. Section 6. The competitive AI landscape. To wrap up our analysis, let's zoom out and see where Google's massive bet stands against the rest of big tech. The strategies here are night and day. Google is trading absolute privacy for ambient cloud convenience with these persistent VMs. Apple is going the exact opposite route. They are heavily prioritizing secure, on-device sessions. Microsoft is locking down the enterprise space, and OpenAI remains strictly browser-bound. Right now, Google basically stands entirely alone in this 24/7 ambient category. Google is so confident in this ambient approach that they've entirely restructured their pricing to capture knowledge workers. They cut their top Ultra tier down to $200 and introduced a brand new $100 a month entry tier. Now, I know that sounds steep, but it's aggressively targeted at freelancers and workspace professionals. For them, spending $100 a month for a 24/7 digital employee that never ever sleeps, that's an absolute bargain. Ultimately, this explainer leaves us pondering a structural trade-off that is undoubtedly going to shape the future of our relationship with computers. Google is betting that the time you save by having a proactive, always-on agent will totally outweigh the inherent privacy trade-offs of giving a cloud VM 24/7 surveillance over your inbox and your schedule. The technology is absolutely here, the guardrails are currently being tested, but the final question remains: are we as users actually willing to trade our digital privacy for 24/7 autonomous convenience? It's a fascinating question, and it's one we're all going to have to answer very, very soon. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.